E. Acho isso, Alves. Pode. Já colheu? Já, amor.
Right, good morning, guys. How are you? Good morning, good morning. Oh, it's in the afternoon now. Afternoon, how are you? Can the comrades hear me or they can't hear me?
Good afternoon, sir. I think we can.
You can hear me?
Yes. Well, thanks, and you?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. Welcome back on a Thursday, and I'm also back, strong and firing. Anyways, was it yesterday or so, or the other day? I can't remember. No, it's the previous day before yesterday, Tuesday. We ended up on discussing the model of a liquid. Kindly, guys, can you kindly mute yourselves for now? Then when it's time to speak, please, then you can open your mic or raise a hand. But for now, can you please mute? As I was saying, good afternoon and welcome back. And welcoming myself back. I just want to start on three actually. I just want to start on three issues. Let's go with whiteboard. I hope everyone can see my whiteboard. Issue number one, punctuality. Right, star. I cannot be reminding you about what you're supposed to do. Cannot be reminding you about lecture time. You have to attend. It's either you don't want to or you want to, but at the end of the day, I'm not the one who writes assessments. I'm not the one who's gonna fail. Even if you ask for a second whatsoever. If you don't know, you don't know. The truth is the truth. If you do not attend and do not listen, you don't know. Whether you fail, ask for remark or retest, it's still gonna be the same because you don't know. So take note. Number one, that's punctuality. Number two, I emphasized this. This was emphasized. I emphasized this in the beginning. COVID-19 restrictions have been lifted. Hence, the university said contact classes are on. It's 50% on and off. Depending on the availability of me on my side, how I can structure that. But now there are people who still think it's a privilege to claim that I am in Mkomazi, I am in Jombe, wherever I don't have internet. But the university put it forward, that is 50%. So which means wherever you are, if you know you do not have data, you have to move immediately. Right? You have to move immediately. Right? So now I simply put it straightforward, and people, that's why I emphasize attend lectures. One, if you do not attend lectures, the things that are spoken in class, you don't know. Then you come again making noise to me, right? And then at the end of the day, you're gonna say is kind of rude, say has no patience. I cannot come to class and discuss the course outline with everyone. And then you come on your own 2 weeks later or a month later asking me things that we finished 2 months ago. I emphasized the course outline. I sat down the course outline. I sat down in class. I even posted that lecture. Emphasized, even posted it. I specifically said it, that for now it's 50% online. Then the second half of the semester, right? Second half of the semester is going to be contact. It's going to be contact. It's specifically put on the course outlines. So somebody fails to go to Learn 22 and actually read the course outline, and then you are breaking all the rules, you are texting me. I specifically put it, do not text me. Send the university email, and then I will attend to that email when I'm free. But some people still find it in their hearts to keep sending me text on my phone. They are blowing up my phone. I don't know why. So number one, be punctual. Learn to do what you are supposed to do. No one came to you and said, the register, you're teaching EDE, what you were signing the forms on your own. You said you want to learn, you want to be a professional facilitator. That was all you, not anyone. No one was forced. But now people are behaving as if we are forcing them to attend or to do things. Secondly, the course outline is there. Learn 22 is there. It's for everyone. Anytime you wake up in the morning, you can wake up and log in, you'll find all the content there. It's there, the course outline. It was actually discussed in class, everything there. So I very find it offensive for someone to be texting me, asking me I should be telling them about when contact classes are going to be, or when this was discussed clearly and posted on the course outline. Some questions are disturbing in class. Instead of focusing on what was supposed to do that particular week, we're answering questions of someone who was sitting there enjoying their life. So please, do what you are supposed to do. As a student, you regularly visit Learn. Almost on a daily basis, you check, do you have announcements? Do you have something new? Daily. When you wake up in the morning and when you sleep at night, twice. It's like your emails. You check your emails 8 o'clock sharp in the morning, and you check your emails when you're sleeping, so that at the end of the day, you know that I did not miss any university important email. That's the role of a student there. It's not my job to be following you around. It's time for lecture. It's time for what? No. That is actually out of my own kindness, that I'll be thinking that as people, we forget. So I have to help and remind you, but that's not my purpose. I really don't like what's really happening about that. And number three, I emphasized this thing. I told you on number three that you have to read your rule guidebook correctly. 2020 and 2021 are finished. That's when COVID was 100%. There was no movement. Now practicals are supposed to be done on campus. What is supposed to be 50-50 and what? All those excuses which are lame. Someone is sending me a text at night, which is very rude. Sending me a text after 5, I'm off. And you're busy of breaking the first rule that we said. You are texting me, say, I missed the quiz. Can you kindly find it in your heart to forgive? What a rule or basis am I supposed to have? What's so special about you? There are 209 students in a class. 200 all answered the quiz. So what makes you special that I should forgive you for no reason? Sometimes you have to think when you're asking someone to do something for you. Hence, the university said, if you are sick, provide a doctor's note. If you have a problem with electricity, tell us. We can always call Eskom with phones. Somebody emailed me, I said, can you tell me the area? They gave me the proof. I said, I live in this and this and this and this area. All right, young man, I will call with the secretary and see how it's done with the people of exams. Then the people of exams says, don't worry, we'll take care of it, right? We check and then we assess the student is correct. We go on. I need to have valid reasons. If you were in a flood or whatsoever, Minera, where I stay, there were floods. This is what happened. What area is that? We confirm there were floods. The examples gives me the go ahead. The student deserves a makeup. But if you're just to come to me, you are making my life hard. And when I reply in a harsh way now, you are saying Minera is now angry, has no patience. But it's you who's doing all these things. The rules are listed. Bring valid proof or tell me valid reasons. But when you are coming to me and telling me, I forgot, I don't know what happened, what am I supposed to do with that? Seriously, what's so special about you that the other people didn't sleep? They didn't sleep. They worked the entire night trying to make sure that when the deadline is there, they submit. And you are sleeping, whatever you are doing, no one knows. And then when you see that the deadline is over, that's when you come. So how do you think we should help you in such a situation? Because we are all equal, we are one family, we work together towards one goal, to pass and earn our degrees. But you want us to give you special attention. Why? What's the reason for that? I emphasized, make sure that you do your work in time. You will never have problems with anyone. You will pass nicely and go. But some people still find me and other people as fools. They think they can just go ahead. Everyone is personal business, you understand? Right now, I've been all over. I have a sick mother, I have what, but I'm juggling everything as a human being. At the end of the day, the job has to be done. I even emphasized that day, I used an example of group work. I said, even the manager of ShopRite, if today you fall sick, that doesn't mean the shop will close. Business will continue. Even if I myself here get knocked out by a car tomorrow, they will find a new lecturer so that they continue your education. The moment they declare I'm dead, it's the process of finding someone. The job has to be done at the end of the day. So you have to have valid reasons why you do not submit something like that. Because at the end of the day, I will just take that's why I emphasize that you send me an email. But if you are to break rules, it's fine. I will screenshot those things of yours of disobeying rules and send them to where you go and appeal for DPs. Let's see whether that unofficial text of yours will work there. Some people think when you are telling them, don't do this, don't do that, you are trying to stop them or inhibit them. No, it's for your own good, not mine. Because if you are to text me after hours, I'm not paid for working after 5, by the way. I'm not. My job is to teach during the day. 4:30, I'm done. I'm supposed to be done. But if you're to text me when I'm sleeping at 8 or doing my other things, I will simply ignore. and wait for you to use the university email. And then tomorrow when you say I tried to talk to Minera, I'll cut that screenshot of yours and send it to where you deal with DP appeals or whatsoever. Let's see whether those people will accept to be sent text or phone calls at night. So guys, let's be clear on rules. The course outline is there. I emphasized it. If you are to miss something, miss it with a reason. Some people follow rules, and I'm actually quite happy and very, very applauding them and even clapping as that, no, guys, you are following rules. And in that case, I accept. There is a young man who called me here, like, say, I have a problem. So what happened in this area? I'm like, no, you should tell me the area so that I'm sure that I'm doing the right thing. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be asked, why did I give you special attention out of 210 students? So guys, let's do the right thing. And somebody who keeps asking me, can you please send the link to us? It's there on Learn 2022. It's posted a long time ago. It will never change. But you still want me to send you. How many times should I send you one link? Every day I must wake up, do your job for you. Here is a link for you to attend the lecture. This is not how university works. This is 50%. When you go out there to schools, you are facilitators. You make sure the information the students need is available. So I gave you the course outline. I gave you the links up front. When I gave you the links, I told you we're going to start the following Monday. I gave you the course outline in advance so that on Monday when I come, you would have read it. And then I discuss it with you. That's how facilitators do. So now when you come to me asking me for a link, which I've already given you, already discussed it with you, everything is there on the course outline. I don't know. The only question that I expect from you is, no, Minera, the thing that you discussed or that you wrote on the course outline that day, I didn't quite understand it clearly. So when you meant that, what did you mean? That's a question that for me, I can handle. But when you have to come to me asking me for a link, asking me all these questions, can you tell us clearly what's happening in contact? It's clearly stated, I discussed. First half of the semester, we're doing online. Second half of the semester, I will be there face-to-face in class in front of you, contact. But today, I'm still getting those questions, of which all that information is there on Learn. But some people do not want to read. They just want to bother other people to do the job for them and then tell them. That's not good. I hope today this is clear. And this discussion ends now of me, people asking me things that we've passed on. Right now, we should be focusing on the lecture of today. But here we are wasting time on things that we shouldn't be talking about. Now, last week when we were going, was it on Tuesday? On Tuesday, we ended up discussing about matter and the different states of matter. And then yesterday, because the prac materials are still not ready and the prac rooms are still not ready and the groups are still not ready. So I opened the quiz, which is supposed to be tutorial 2. I opened the quiz. It takes 1 hour to complete it. And because people are struggling, I decided to give people 3 attempts. And I decided to close it the other week. If you look at the course outline, it's specified that tab 2 will be opened this week and will be due 1 week late. But I opened it 1 day earlier and gave you 3 attempts of the same questions that you tried, so that at the end of the day, you won't say, no. But as from next week onwards, all these 3 attempts and what ends, people are supposed to attend lectures, do what they're supposed to do at the right time. So now let's continue where we left. So we were talking about matter the other day, and we talked about electrostatics has started matter, materials, etc. And then we came to the particle theory of matter. This is what we discussed about. It's 3 points. And then we moved on, we discussed the model of a solid. We moved on, we were tired when we were discussing the model of a liquid. Now, so to remind people of what we were talking about, I will start here. We said there is what is called the particle theory of matter, right? And we said the particle theory of matter states that particles of matter are in a constant state of motion. That means they have kinetic energy. The smallest particle of every matter, they are always in constant motion. That means they have kinetic energy. That's what we say. And then we say point number 2, the particle theory of matter states that there are spaces between the particles of matter. And then we went on to say point 3, particles of matter can either attract or repel each other. And then we said we had solids, liquids, gases, and another one, which we said is in between solids, liquids, and gases. From there, we went on and discussed about the model of solids. We said, look at solids. Everyone knows the solids. For instance, a brick, a ruler that you are carrying, a table, an iron rod or iron bar. We say their particles are together, right? That's why we call them solids. Their particles are together. They are bound. It's like this. That's a solid, right? They have strong bonds, which means the particles are tightly attracted to each other, right? They have strong bonds, hence they are rigid and solid. Their particles do not move freely around. That means that's why they are always in one shape. They can't interchange their shape. Their particles are not free to move around too much. The particles inside solids have low kinetic energy. Instead of bigger spaces, they have small spaces. That is, they only vibrate within that little space of theirs. So hence, because of that, we say they cannot be compressed as airspace between particles is limited. And then we give an example of ice, a brick, right? You cannot compress a brick or ice. When you try to compress them, you're breaking them. That's actually breaking it into pieces, not compressing. Right. And then from there, we moved on now to the model of a liquid. We said now, the model of a liquid is a bit different. We said particles move around more freely than those of a solid, right? There are more spaces now in the liquid particles. That means they have more movement, and then therefore they have more kinetic energy. Hence, they take the shape of the container they are given because they are free to slide all over each other and move about. Right. Hence, there are larger spaces between liquid particles. And then from there, we moved on now. We're tired. We're about to start the model of a gas. The model of a gas now was like gases move or spread out more rapidly. There are more spaces in them than liquids and solids. Right. In front of a glass, get smell at back of a glass. Right. These particles have more kinetic energy than liquids and solids. Right. There is little or no attractive forces between gas particles. Yes, gas particles are so far apart that when gas is opened, it quickly disperses or diffuses itself around because each particles are less attracted to each other. Hence, due to that, gases can be compressed. Right? That's what we know. That's why they are gas tanks. Gases can be compressed into a smaller volume. That's why you can carry a 6 kilogram cylinder and go and pour 6 kilogram gas inside. Right? They can be compressed. They take the shape of the container they are given. They tend to escape to someone else. That's how gases are like. Now, there is something that we are supposed to discuss that changes that matter undergo. Solids undergo a change liquids undergo a change, gases undergo a change. There is also what is called a phase change. A phase change is when maybe a solid turns into a liquid or a liquid turns into a gas. So in other words, phase change is a change in how matter looks, but not the kind of matter it is. So it may change like ice. Ice we know is H2O, it's water, but it's frozen. It can change from being a solid into a liquid. It's still the same thing, but what it changed, it's a phase. Phase is either solid or it's liquid, but it's still the same thing. But now when we say chemical change, so take note of these things. This is what is called the phase change. This is what is called the chemical change. So phase change is just a change of shape, but it's still the same thing. It's like they are trying to make Mr. Sibanda liquid. He's still Sibanda, but in a form of liquid, just like water. It's still water, but it's ice. And then in the other form, it's liquid. But the chemical change now, it's when it's no longer water. It's something entirely, something new. You burn something or you change it from one form to another, it becomes something else. That's a chemical change. So not all materials can undergo phase change. This is very important. All materials can undergo phase change. The difference between materials is how much energy is required to make the change. E.g., like gases or liquids, they have different boiling points. Solids have different melting points. That's the only difference. But all materials can undergo phase change. That is, they can change from being solid to liquid to gas, still being the same thing. What will be different there is the amount of heat energy needed to melt that thing. Ice melts it easily, but some things do not melt easily. For example, an iron bar, you have to heat it to something like 650 degrees, and actually to be able to make it that red hot to make it molten. So take note of the English there, right? And then we go on. We say phase change. In other ways, it's a physical change because it's from being solid to liquid to being gas. We used melting of ice when exposed to heat. When they are exposed to heat, this is what happens now, right? The particles gain kinetic energy. When they gain kinetic energy, that means they move faster. When they move faster, that means what? They tend to break the forces of attraction of solids. When those forces of attraction become weaker, then they become liquids, right? So if more heat is supplied, the molecules get sufficient energy, they break away from one another. This is when now evaporation occurs. Liquid then turns water to water vapor. So what they are saying is you have ice. You put more heat here, the particles here, the forces of attraction in those particles become weak. When they become weak, then you get a liquid, right? You get a liquid. That was a solid. And then if you add more heat again here, which means these particles now will tend to escape and become gas, which is water vapor in terms of water from ice to water to gas, which is water vapor. That's a phase change or physical change. They changed from being solid to being liquid to being water vapor, which is gas, right? So phase change, freezing, molecules lose energy, space between particles decrease, kinetic energy decreases. That's when you're going back from water to freezing, hence freezing. But boiling, particles gain more energy, more heat, more energy. The weaker the bonds, the particles tend to fly apart, and then they become what? Anyway. Then there is what is called the sublimation. I want you to take note of this one. Must understand this one. This is when the solid, because usually we have solid to liquid, right? And then to gas. But when we skip the liquid part and go to gas, this is called sublimation. See now, When you skip from solid straight to gas, that is called sublimation. Then there is diffusion, which is a random movement of particles. This happens for these only. These two, liquids and gases, there is diffusion. Now we'll come to what is called a chemical change. Before I hammer the chemical change, let's hear what the comrades are saying and what they are thinking so far. Anything hard or everything is still Iowa.
It's still okay, sir.
Still okay. All right.
Yes.
That's wonderful. If it's still okay, that's wonderful. Now, let's talk about what a chemical change is. That's when new matter is formed. Right. It's when new matter is formed. Right. So you see what I'm talking about. Sometimes, Jazzy, some people, I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it's called. Someone is saying, is saying, say, can you please give us an example of sublimation? Sublimation, for example, I can give you ammonia. If you go to the toilets there, where usually now they put that ammonia in terms of ice. But long back in the days, ammonia, if you just place it on a stove, it just directly goes into gas without becoming liquid. And then you hear the smell going all over and people wanting to puke. That's an example of sublimation that you asked me. And then to pause again and show you that why I'm getting frustrated. Right now, I told you not to text me. He's busy texting me in this class that we are attending here right now, saying, Minera, I'm sorry. But I say, don't text my phone. But anyways, it is what it is. We will have to implement more rules which tend to lead to other things. That's what I try to avoid to use, because when we talk and you do not understand me, I have to send you to someone above me until you reach a point where you will realize that what you are doing is now called harassment to someone. So now let's continue. There is what is called a chemical change, right? Chemical change is when new matter is formed, right? For example, burning, rusting, cooking, all these are the processes which can lead to what? To matter being formed via the process of what? A chemical change. It seems like I've hammered too much today. I've even exhausted my slides without even seeing. But anyways, I wanted to give you examples of a chemical change. For example, let's try one example where you burn something, it becomes something. For example, rusting, and for example, cooking. What do you know? Let's get it from you, that if you burn it, it becomes something else. This one, I'm giving it to you. Real life examples. You have so many things that you know that are around you, that these things are happening. Any example that any one of you can see, there is either be of rusting or cooking or burning, that when you do it, it turns into something else. What can you say? All right, come on, comrades. Let's see whose hand is on, and let's take it from there. And Elisiwe, let's hear you.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
I'm gonna take burning. When you burn papers, you get an ash.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
thank you.
another example. Yes, there. And then Annelicio, is it still you or there was someone else? They've removed their hand.
It was someone else. I think maybe he was going to say the same thing. I don't know.
Okay, all right. So they've given us one example using burning, right? So when you burn a human being, for example, even when you burn paper, we know that most of the matter in a human being is water, right? So it's a mixture of water and carbon and other things. But when you burn a human being, all those components which are inside, they tend to disappear. You remain with ash, right? Which ash in other forms is another chemical compound with its different elements being together. And then let's take, for example, rusting, right? When iron rusts, it's no longer iron, right? It's now, remember, when we're starting, we talked about the periodic table. Why is this thing going this far? Sorry about that. When we're starting about this thing of matter and atoms, we say iron is called Fe, but the rusting is a process of oxidizing iron. That means this iron you'll be having now oxygen added to it. So it's no longer iron now, right? It's oxidized iron, right? It's rusting, it's peeling off. That's another chemical change. You started with Fe, but now you have Fe and O2 added together, right? So
Sir, is it called iron oxide?
there are many forms of it. There is peroxide, there is oxide, but you can't call it iron oxide. It's just called rust. Its chemical name I've forgotten. I'll find it for you and give you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, like stuff. And then any example about cooking? Come on, guys, especially ladies. We're not saying cooking is for ladies. Hear me clearly. These days you have to be careful about what you say. You can't say things is done by females, something is not done by men. No. But per usual norm, what we usually see for those who cook, what do you cook and which changes from one form to another? An example, guys, there are more chefs which are male than female nowadays. So anyone who cooks, what have you cooked which has changed from one form to another? Pilangenkosi?
Let me try, sir, but I'm not sure. I think when you cook an egg, it changes from the liquid into a solid.
Yeah, but we're also talking, now we're not talking about phase change. We're talking about chemical change. The egg is still the egg. It's just that now it's rigid and it's edible.
What about the margarine?
Margarine, you're right. When you burn it, right, it loses some of its components because they
Become a
turn.
gas.
Yes, and then you remain with something which is funny. When it solidifies, it's no longer margarine. It's there, but right. Annelise,
So let me try. What about pap? The maize, and then it turns into pap.
pap, it's like solid added water. Yes, but yeah, because you can't take out the element of water anymore. So we might say it's a chemical change in a way. Yeah. All right, guys. So now, after we finished this topic, that quiz that I uploaded, you should be able. Someone is saying when you cook, let's hear the chat. Saying when you cook a kangaroo, it turns into liquid substance that is like oil. Aye, terminology. When you heat a kangaroo, not cook a kangaroo, it turns into liquid. Yes, that's another example. And it loses that paraffin and those other chemical compounds. Yes, that's true. So now, what I was saying, that the quiz that is uploaded, if you try it now with all the data that we've learned from atoms, matter, and into this sort of matter, you should get 100% on it. Right? That should be straightforward now. No, you know, Pilar, when we say a phase change, look at ice. When ice changes from being frozen into water, it's still H2O. It only just changed from being solid into water. It didn't lose anything. But a candle has paraffin, and then it is wax on it, and then it is a thread. And then when you burn it, the thread which is there, the solid matter disappears. The paraffin helps that thread to burn. And now when you resolidify that wax does no longer have paraffin in it. So it has lost some of its components, hence a chemical change. So a chemical change is when something new is made. but a phase change, there's no change in the chemical composition. It's still the same thing. The only difference is that it's frozen, or it's a gas, or it's a liquid. Right. And then you say, oh yes, that's what we're answering. So now, guys, let's move on to the new chapter now. That's another chemical change, because when you heat sugar and it turns into that brown thing, which is sweet, it no longer tastes like sugar. It has that bitter taste in it. It has lost that part. That's a chemical change, right? It's still solid, right? It turns into liquid, but the moment you take it out of the stove, it becomes what? Something else, which is solid, but which no longer tastes like sugar. All right, so yes, now let's move on to the next topic. Here we are. So hopefully, guys, I've given you a quiz 1 week earlier, plus 1 day on top. I finished the discussing with it again. It is 3 attempts. By now, somebody should have tried the first attempt. It takes your highest score only. If you attempt first and get 0, second one get 100, then third one get 60, it will take 100 as your mark. So hopefully, I want to hear any stories next week. Minera, can you do this? I didn't this because of that. Yes, Camille.
Sir, quick question. Astatine, it falls under a semi-metal, am I right?
As to what?
Astatine from the periodic table, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the one we're discussing the day before yesterday.
Yes, I just want to find, is that falls under a semi-metal, not a metal or a non-metal? Would you classify it as non-metal or metal?
You classify it as a, let me give it to this way. Let's open the periodic table, that one, and show people what we were talking about last week, so that we get balanced about it. Here we go.
So you know why I asked, right?
No.
Okay,
And
okay,
like-
that's actually one of the questions in the test itself.
Okay, I'm trying to find it so that we can explain it to. What topic was it, by the way? Was it atoms and elements? Was it elements? Matter. It should be the beginning, the atoms, right? Right.
Yes, we asked to classify whether they're metals or non-metals for majority of the questions.
Around here, where there's boron, Si, germanium, what,
Number
actinium.
85.
Right. So you are talking about number 85.
Yes.
Right. So remember, what did we say? We say that those on the right-hand side of the diagonal are what? Are non-metals. And then on the left-hand side of what? Of the diagonal are what? Are metals. Right. And then the one that you're talking about is what? Actinium. All right. I'll tell you from this perspective of chemical. You see this line here. All these are gases. This is fluorine, chlorine, bromine. But here now, when you come here, that's where the trick comes into picture. There is iodine. Iodine is found in all forms. You know that, right? There is a gas form, and then there is a solid form, right? But it's form, most of the time infused with other things. Like, for example, it's infused in salt. Right. You find it in salt, find it with other things. To find it on its pure form, you will get it as a gas. And then that's the same thing that applies here. Right. This is a non-metal, but when now infused with other things, that's when you can classify it as a metal. Are we okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Understand how the question would be. I understand how I would answer the question now.
Okay.
It actually is part of the test itself. So I've already done the test.
Okay. All right. So now we were moving on to where were we? This one. So now welcome to my specialty, because I told you I'm a wireless comms person. I did electronic inch. So this is like eating pap for me, like someone was saying. Yeah. I can even sleep. You can wake me up from sleeping. I'll tell you what's going on with this part of the course. So welcome to electrical systems, guys. This part involves the use of circuits, right? We're gonna deal with circuits. We're gonna deal with the components. We're gonna deal with what is current, what is voltage, what is what, etc. Right. So let's go slowly. Let's not hammer people. This is the section of electrical and electronic systems. So to understand how electrical circuits, including those with switches that you always turn on at home, geysers, etc., on and on, can be used to achieve functional results. So to use electrical switches to control devices will be one of our concerns that we'll be looking at, or that we'll have to look at. And then we're going to have to be able to analyze the performance of an electric system in order to check if it is working effectively according to design or it's faulty. We're also going to have to use the interconnection between simple electrical and electronic systems. So by definition, electrical is high voltage, right? And then electronics is low voltage, right? High voltage, things like 11 kilovolts, 5,000 kilovolts, etc., ESCOM things, right? Generators, power turbines. And then electronics now, you come to low voltage, things like computers, watches, wireless communication, cell phones, the internet, what else? Satellites, which you connect with above, setcoms, all those things, your sliding gates, all those things, internet, computer, whatever. Yeah. So now, what is electricity? That's one of the most important things. And I think this is one of the things when you go out there in schools, you're given grade 7s or grade 8s there. One of them is bound to ask this from the beginning, like Miner said, why does electricity from first principles? And you'll be stunned. How can I explain what electricity is to this young man or little lady? Right. So electricity is described as the flow of electrons. Right. I remember when we're talking about atoms, we once talked about electrons and protons. Hence, electricity is described as the flow of electrons. And that flow of electrons in simpler terms is called current. That's what is called an electrical current, right? So there's even, someone was asking me sometimes that, Minera, when you're giving us these things, can we also have supplementary info, right? Supplementary information on some of these notes. So there are links on the notes that you can click and then go to YouTube, actually watch or listen to what they are saying there, right? Some of the links I would even post them separately there on Learn 2022. So electricity is described as the flow of electrons, which is in other words, is named current. So these are the definitions. When I put out a definition, I expect you to learn it by heart. These are the minor questions that on our major test / exam, you will find them. Define what the electricity is, or multiple choice there. These are things where you don't need to waste time. You need to just answer and spend most of your time in design questions or calculation questions. So there is what is called conduction of electricity. That's when you plug a live wire and you touch it with your bare hands, we find you suddenly screaming, you're being shocked, being electrified. That's conduction of electricity. So haven't you ever asked yourself, why is it that when I plug the wire there into the electrical point, and then I leave it lying bare there, it's not hurting anyone, it's just lying there. But the moment I touch it with my bare hands, hey, some things which are very complicated, undescribable happen. Why do you think that happens? That's because when you touch it, you automatically yourself become a conductor. You are now making electricity pass through you to the ground from that point. Hence, you get shock. So, in other words, conductors are described as substances which allow electrons to flow through them. Hence, when you touch that bare wire with your hand, trust me, my friend, you will regret that decision. Then there is what is called insulators. What are insulators? Now we're talking about things like plastic, rubber, right? Those are things that do not conduct electricity at all. They don't allow the flow of electrons through them, right? Those things are described as substances in which electrons can flow through them. That's what is called insulators. Now, there is also what is called AC and DC current. What is the difference? Let's hear from the comrades what they think the difference between these two is. Anyone, guys, who can bless us? Peter?
Sir,
Yes?
I'm not sure, but one of the two, it uses magnets in order to generate or create current.
Yes and no. Yes and no. But you are correct. One of them uses magnets to be generated. Yes, that's another difference. Anyone else? Comrades, I'm listening. These comrades are quiet. So you see, AC is alternating current. This is what he was saying, that some of it is generated using what? Magnets. That's alternating current, which is generated by Eskom and other people, the turbines. So there's water pushing the turbines around the coil with a magnet inside, and then an alternating current is presented. So AC, that's alternating current, yes?
So can you remember between the two, which one has got obviously, so it's gonna be the DC that uses a power source and has the alternating what?
So yes, you are right in a way. This one is direct current, right? This is direct current. That's what you get from solar power, right? Or you get from batteries, it's DC, right? That is direct current. Then alternating current, that's what you get from Eskom, right? That's from turbines, magnets together. This is what is called, the process called electromagnetic induction. That's what generates that one. So now you know the difference between the two. The other one is alternating current and the other one is direct current. And the other difference, alternating, because it's like this, it's always alternating, right? It has a positive cycle and it has a negative cycle. But this one, DC current, is just straight. If the battery is written 5 volts, it's always going to be 5 volts coming out, unless when it's you've finished it, it's now giving you 0. This one now, or AC, is a bit different. It's alternating, right? It's always changing. It is peak amplitudes, but this one just one amplitude there. This one is DC, direct current. But let's go to the theory slowly, right? If the current constantly changes direction, it is called alternating current, or AC. That's what we just said. Then we say the mains electricity is an AC supply. All our plug points here in South Africa, like from Eskom, you get straight what? AC. So the SAAC main supply is 230 volts. However, in some places it varies between 220 and 250. So yes, this one is actually true. It's supposed to be 230, right? The plug point, but however, it varies between 220, that will be mains, and 250. So you can get anything, either 231, 233, or 240, whatever. Yeah. So the average of our mains here in South Africa is 230, and it is a frequency. Frequency is this thing. So you see this thing alternates, right? So from here, we have the first half, which is up to there, we have the second half, which is there. This is called a period T. That's called the period, where full cycle is completed. One half from the top and the other half from the bottom is done. Period is measured in time. That's what is called the period. Then frequency is 1 over T. Right, 1 over T. Right. So that's the rate of changing of that electrical current. That's frequency, the rate of changing. Right. So the frequency of our main ZNSA is 50 hertz, which means that it changes direction and back again 50 times a second. You understand? 50 times a second. But for things like for people like UK and other places, theirs is faster, something like 60 hertz. And nowadays, TVs, they can accommodate 60 hertz. I'm sure those with decoders or smart TVs, it actually gives you the frequency that it is giving you a picture at 50 or 60. If you have these DSTV decoders, you can actually change it either to 50 or 60. Right. 60 is for smarter TVs, right? Because it's the fastest. The diagram shows an oscilloscope screen displaying the signal. What they are trying to talk about here is what I was showing you, that on a measuring equipment called an oscilloscope, AC current, it will be displayed like this. You will see a waveform which goes up and down, up and down, up and down, like that. So this is an example or a picture of an oscilloscope trace illustrating what alternating current. So its average is always 0 there. Then it is the peak amplitude. For example, there, let's say this is 1, 2, 3, you see, and it will be -1, -2, -3, such that at the end of the day, its average is 0, right? That's an alternating current, an example of alternating current. My thing has been zoomed. I'm trying to unzoom it. But so now let's go to what is called the direct current. That's DC current. If the current flows in one direction, right, it is called direct current. As I said, and I was trying to show you that let's say this is 0, DC would be here, maybe 5 volts. That's direct current. Or it can be like that, and then this is 0, it can be down there, -5 volts, right? You see, it doesn't have all this rigorous, no, it's just a straight line, depending on its value, whether it's 2 volts, 5, or 20, or whatsoever, right? So that's what direct current. Example, batteries or solar cells, they supply DC, direct current. The typical cell may supply 1.5. That's what we usually see with the remote batteries, right? That is 1.5, 1.5. Either AAA size or AA size or whatever the size, right? And then next, we're gonna see how direct current is represented. You see, like I was saying, it's just a straight line. You can say maybe this is 1, this is 2, maybe that would be 2.5 volts. See that? So that is DC current. It's just a straight line, right? Direct current. And then we go on now to electrical systems. Now we're gonna talk about DC circuits. Now, guys, you have to pay attention to these things, because once we are done with this, we are going to have a project, right? And then that project is gonna be done in groups. So if you do not understand this chapter, you're gonna have a problem with the project. So in order to pass the project, also listen to what's happening now. So here we are talking about electrical systems of DC circuits. How do we construct a DC circuit? Right? That's one of the questions that we'll be asking ourselves. What are the principal parts to be found in every circuit? Right? What happens to bring about the action of electric circuit? So the principal activity involves electric charge, right? When we arrange for electric charge to move in a predetermined way, we achieve an electric current. So what they are trying to say, they are trying to say that if we arrange, for example, like we do in remotes, if we have a battery usually is represented like this in a circuit, guys. Simple like this, right? Where the bigger side is the positive terminal, the smaller side is the negative terminal. So if we arrange a battery and connect it, for example, to a light bulb, another connection here, and then we have our light bulb here, another connection, and then we have this, we have light coming out. So if we arrange for an electric charge to move in a predetermined way, we've achieved an electric current. So the circuit is closed. Electric current moves out from the positive terminal of a battery into the positive terminal of a light bulb, thereby hitting the coil or wire of the bulb such that it illuminates and light is given and continues to the negative terminal. The loop is closed. So hence current is flowing in that direction. This is what we call electric charge moving in a predetermined way. That we've achieved an electric current. It's flowing around. So to produce this effect, we require to enlist the aid of an EMF, that's electromotive force. This battery here is the EMF, right? It's the supplier. So to produce that current which flows around, you need a source, something which forces that thing to happen, an electromotive force. So an example of an EMF force is a battery source, right? This also is quite clear there. And here they've given an example of what I was actually talking about. 100%. It's like I read these notes before, like here is a simple circuit with light, right? This is exactly what I was talking about. Positive terminal on the other side, and then negative terminal on the other side. So you see how it's flowing all right through, right? But unfortunately, whoever did this diagram did it wrongly. I have to correct it, right? It's the opposite way of movement. Electrons, they flow from the other way around. So electrons move this side from negative to the positive terminal, but vice versa for the electrical current. But anyway, they didn't label which one they were referring to as the movement. I guess they were referring to the movement of electrons, right? That's the one which moves like that. So current refers to the movement of negative charges. Yes, they were referring to that. In an electrical circuit, electrons move from the negative pole to the positive pole. That's from the negative terminal towards the positive terminal. So if you've connected the positive pole of an electrical source to the negative pole, you create a circuit, right? And there, that's what I was showing you about the light bulbs that we see at home. And clap, you have the light showing up. Yeah. Things to note about DC circuits, right? Electric current is the rate of flow of negatively charged electrons. Now, I want to teach you something about terminology, right? The moment you mention electrons, we know that you're talking about negatively charged particles. So there is no use for you to put this word right here, these two words. So electric current is the rate of flow of electrons from negative to positive side of the battery. So when you are saying it's the rate of flow of negatively charged electrons, no. It's like, what do we call it? For people who know English very well, when you're using two words which mean the same thing in the line.
We call it redundancy.
Yeah, that's redundancy, but there is another one. Let's say you use good and best, but this is not the best example. There's a point where you use two words which mean the same thing, and even Microsoft highlights one of them, that one of them has to go. Right? This is what happened here, negatively charged electrons. It's just electrons from negative to positive side of the battery. The other one, they're saying no current can flow if the circuit is broken. That's true. So for example, let's say we have a source like this. That is our positive, this is our negative. And then it's an open circuit there. And then here we have our light bulb here, right? So as long as here it's open, which means the flow of electrons doesn't happen, right? Which means electrons don't jump from here to there. It's an open circuit. This will not turn on. So no current flows if the circuit is broken. For example, when a switch is open. So at home, when you're actually opening a space and closing a space. There will be something like this. That's how a switch is. A switch is something like this. Right. So when you flip it, these two become in contact. Electricity flows, light bulbs turn on. When you say car again, the opposite direction, you are opening it. Right. There's no contact, no electrical current flowing, hence no electricity going. That's what they mean about this statement there. And electric current flows when electrons move through a conductor, such as a metal wire. This one we covered. We said, for example, if you take plastic and try to use plastic, it's an insulator. That's why electrical wires are covered in what? In plastic, right? But not the bigger ones. The bigger ones, they get hot. The ones that go above your head, the pylons, which have 43 kilovolts, they get hot. Even you, if you climb there unprepared, they tend to create an electrical field which will mess around with your brain a little bit. You can't just, yeah. But the smaller ones, which you use like chargers, laptops, plugging a fridge, they are all covered in plastic, right? So those are insulators, but the wire inside, it's a conductor, which allows current flows when electrons move through that conductor. So metals generally are good conductors of electricity, right? Metals are good conductors of electricity. Then plastic and wood are bad conductors of electricity. Therefore, they are called what? Insulators, right? Therefore, they are called insulators. Now, let's come to calculating current. Let me stretch. I've been hammering you non-stop. It's time to take a breather. Should I continue to hammer you and stop at the end and give you some time, or take a break? Let's hear what the comrades are saying. What do you prefer? A break or continuation?
Let's continue.
Continue,
Continue,
sir.
sir. Consent.
Let's continue, say, aye.
Okay, Coach.
You
Coach.
know, it's all about majority votes. The majority says let's hammer. All right, guys. There is what is called calculating current. Current is represented by I. That's the symbol for current. And its SI unit is amperes. Amperes, which is amps, shortcut. But when writing, you just put an A. Right? That's what current. We measure current using amperes or amps. So 1 amp is defined as, so 1 amp, 1 ampere, 1 amp is equal to that number there, which is 6.25 by 10 to the power 18 electrons. Moving across your circuit every second. Not just that number, but every second. Right? Since no one wants to remember such a big number, that big number is called the coulomb, right? This number is called the coulomb. That's 1 coulomb is equal to 6.25 by 10 to the 18 electrons, right? And here it's named after this guy called Charles A. Coulomb, who helped discover what the current of electricity. You know, these scientists back then, they were fun. This guy Newton was also one of the funniest ones. Most of the things that he claims were his. If you read the science and go back, you'll find out that it's just that he had the advantage. You know, this thing when you make a new device, but you don't have money for the application of patent number. So there's someone who's inconvenienced.
The Lord.
Who was this one? Yeah, there was someone lifting a hand before I muted this person.
Yes, I was saying that we couldn't hear you that time.
Yeah, that's what I always say, guys, that you need to be considerate of other people. So when we start hearing your romantic music like this person there, what are we supposed to do now? There's a place of business and a place of your shenanigans, which you are not interested in. We are all here to make money. So let's study this passage and go and make money. That's the $1 million deal at the end of the day. So we're talking about the Coulomb and current and stuff. And we're now going off topic, talking about these scientists which were jealous of each other. So in simpler English, 1 coulomb is defined as the amount of charge Q that passes a point in a conductor in 1 second when the current in the conductor is 1 ampere. So these definitions, I always point out every day that you must look at them. So the idea is for you, after the lecture is done, to sit down and go through these things whilst they are still fresh. I know there's quite a lot that you are doing. You know, in life, it's not all about school only. You'll find out that even at home, you've got other duties, right? And then you'll find out that maybe you've got other things to do. Instead of homely duties, you still have to work to create some ching on the side. But you try by all means to say, let me die once and finish this thing. The Bible says, poverty shall visit you like a thief upon night if you're a person who sleeps. And then we who we drink too much, we like this saying, time waits for no man. That means you will never catch up with time once the moment you lose it, you will never get it. So it's best you suffer once. You do it today, just when you're even just browsing through without putting too much, just make sure you browse these things after they are done to refresh yourself. Because you read once, read twice, you get to understand it the third time. But then there are those who are smarter than most of us, who they get it once and it's once. So continuing, we say Q, that's the representing of charge, not charge moving in a conductor. Its SI unit is the coulomb, represented by C. And then we have current, which is current in a conductor, which is SI unit is ampere, represented by A. And then we have time, T, time during which current passes a point in a conductor. SI unit of time is seconds, as we all know, represented by an S. So charge is equal to current, which is I times time. That's the $1 million formula. That is awesome. All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, sorry about that, guys. My sister was calling me now. So this is the $1 million formula that we've been talking about there, and all these abbreviations which are a part of the formula. This is where we're describing them, what is what and what is what, right? So what is the current if 20 coulombs of charge pass in 5 seconds? All right, these are one of the questions that you should be able to do. First, we gave you this formula, right? We say Q is equal to IT, but we won't always give you something which is like that. No, we have to twist it a bit. Here is a simple way of twisting it. What is the current if 20 coulombs of charge pass in 5 seconds? So now you have charge, which is 20 coulomb, right? you have time, which is 5 seconds. You are looking for I, right? So mathematically, when you make it change the subject formula, you have I is equal to Q over T, right? Of which therefore you're gonna have to say I is equal to, what is your Q? 20 coulomb. What is your T? 5 seconds. Which will give you what? 1 day for 4 coulombs per second, which is equal to 4 amperes. All right. So I, the current, the amperes, amps, Q, the charging coulomb, C, in time, in seconds. Yes, right. So that is how that question is solved. Any problems there? Anyone who doesn't understand what we just did here? Oh, the comrades are free to ask questions. This is the moment when you must shine. You must shine here with questions because in the next coming 1 or 2 weeks, we're going to be having a test. So if you do not shine here, trust me, my friend, I don't want to see you become butter in the day of the exam. I expect you to become like diamond, the hardest ever.
No,
So,
sir, so far everything is clear. So I think that is why everyone is so quiet.
that's wonderful. I'm happy when the comrades are going with me. That's what I want. Now, here is a task. Let's try it now individually there and give each other answers, and then maybe we can call it a day. Let's see how long we got that. Then voltage and current. I'll keep hammering. I'll keep hammering, but I don't want to kill people here. So let's
We
have
should
this.
just call it a day. After the task, yeah, it's a day.
Yeah,
We agree
so
with you.
let's call it, let's do the task and then call it a day. Yeah. So guys, here they are saying, let me annotate so that people can see. How long will it take a charge of 80 coulombs to pass a point in a conductor if the current flowing is 2 amps? Right? Then 2, what is the charge in coulomb that subsists in a circuit while a current of 2 amp flows through it for 2 minutes? All right, I'm gonna quickly give you 3 minutes. Now it's 1:27, if I'm not mistaken. 1:28, 1:27, 3 minutes. At 1:30, we ask each other what happens and then we solve it. Practice in class. Don't sit there and look at your little sister or your baby or whoever is around you and not answer him. Try to answer these things. Right? Let's go. All right. We're back. People have been answering me. I can see quite some answers there from the comrades. All right. Okay, guys, let's start with number one together. They're saying how long will it take a charge of 80 coulombs? So we know Q is equal to 80 coulombs to pass a point in a conductor if the current flowing is 2 amps, or also given I, which is 2 amps. So they want T. How long will it take? We don't know. But we know that the Q is equal to IT. Right. So this we have, that we have, this we are looking for. Let's make this the subject of the formula. Hence T will be equal to Q over I. Hence we have 80 coulomb over 2 amps. Divide there, we have 40. So we're gonna have T is equal to 40 coulomb per ampere. Right, which means T is equal to 40 seconds. Right. I hope everyone got that one straightforward and clear. Right. That was question 1. I hope everyone got that one clear. Now let's come to 2. Question 2, which we're gonna do this. Right. They are saying what is the charge in coulomb? That's so here Q is what we are looking for. That subsists in a circuit while a current of 2 amp flows. We have I is equal to 2 amps through for 2 minutes. We have T is equal to 2 minutes. But this is not SI. In SI, this is 60 seconds by 2. That means that's 120 seconds. Right. So hence now from our formula, Q is equal to IT. We're gonna have I is 2 amps by 120 seconds. Hence Q is equal to 120 by 2, that's 240 ampere seconds. That means that would be 240 coulombs. Right. I hope the comrades got that one clear. Any questions there, guys? Anyone who doesn't understand somewhere?
Clear.
It's clear.
Yes, it is.
All right. So, okay, comrades, we can call it a day today. But before all of you go, I want to remind you again, because these are the things that I do not want when people now start coming back to me. There is a final reminder. Let's open the course outline there. Right. Final reminder. We are now on week 3. Right. We have started week 3, electrical and electronic systems. That's where we are. We've started week 3 stuff. And then tutorial 2 is gonna close when? On 18 September. And then test 1, I wanted to remind the comrades also. So the upcoming, let's put on the upcoming things. It's there on the course outline, but there are always one of us here. So 1, we have a tutorial 2, which is the quiz. 2/quiz. Last attempt is due on 18 September. All right. And then what's following, we're gonna have number 2, we're gonna have test 1, which is gonna be online. It's gonna be when? On 22 September. All right, 22 September 2022. And then number 3, we still have the issue of pracs and groups, which the lab tech is still working on. Lab tech working on that. This one is no rush. We have 1 prac. Even if we start it after the swim break, we will still finish. It's groups of 4. So remember these 2 dates. All right, there's a quiz there, there's test 1 there online. All right, and then after that, we're gonna head on to tutorial 3, of which tutorial 3 we can erase this, of which TAT 3 is gonna be when? TAT 3 is gonna be on 23 September. It will be a quiz, right? And it will be due, I think, when we come back on 4 October after the sim break. Right. Clear all my drawings, and then let's hear questions. Camille.
Sir, for
Yeah.
our practical, can you
Yes.
maybe just tell us exactly what we're gonna do, or what we're gonna be preparing for
On
it?
the I'm still waiting on the material. What I wanted us to do, let me write down nicely. I had it in terms in 2 forms. I wanted us to do one which entails meta, where we're gonna do a phase change, a small part of phase change, and then a small part of chemical change. Forgive my handwriting. And then part 2, where we're gonna have electrical systems. This was gonna be a simple experiment with light bulbs. But in terms of your writing or replying it, you are going to let's call it write up. It was gonna be in the form of a lesson plan, because this is what you do, right? You do lesson plans. It was gonna be in the form of a lesson plan, right? But however, now the school is giving me problems here, especially. They are telling me that they are not engineering or chemical engineering people. They are sourcing the stuff. So I'm gonna have to change that if they tell me that they didn't find it this week. And then that's it. It's gonna have to come up in the form of a lesson plan, and then I'll brief you on how it goes. Right. I will pay the community.
Okay, and the lesson plan, sorry, the lesson plan itself, you said you're going to be putting us into groups, so that lesson plan is going to be group work.
Yes.
That's going to be a separate, yes?
The lesson plan, the way it's gonna come, is gonna be group work, because there's 210 of you. I cannot mark 210 scripts of a lesson plan. So I'm gonna have to put you in groups, right? Of which how we're gonna do that, right? So of which now I can't go ahead with forming groups and that, because if I put the dates and then this guy here who's organizing my material comes with different dates again, I would now have ruined your planning, because you are students, right? You need to plan ahead your work and say this doesn't clash with this doesn't do with one. So I still have to wait on this guy so that I don't create chaos. So that's my main reason why I'm waiting then. Right.
100%.
And then Togozo, what did you want to ask?
Yes, I wanted to ask about the project of which you've talked about. I know you haven't given it to us yet, but I wanted to have some clarity on maybe if you estimate when will you give us that project. And you've said we will do it in groups. Like I need to know like how many group members will we have? And one last thing, say, I wanted to remind you that we really need these notes, the ones that we're using today, so that we can start working on what we've learned today. And it would be of much pleasure if the notes are uploaded today. Thank you, sir.
About project, that was your first question. All right. The project will come after we finish this chapter, because it belongs to electrical systems. Electrical systems and electronics. So after we finish this, then the project will come. What I always do, I give you ample time to solve something. For example, look at how I gave you Tat 1 a week before. It's something that I'm supposed to give you for 2 days or 3 days. It was a quiz of maybe 10, 20 questions, right? But because of the situation we are in, I'm more understanding. I give you 1 week. So look at Tat 2, it's also due next week. It is an extra day, which I opened it earlier, right? So the same goes for the project. I'll give you at least 2 to 3 weeks to solve that thing. I have to give you much more time to work on it. Because if I hammer you, the chaos will happen. So for the project, after we finish electrical systems and electronics, you can check there on the course outline. We are way ahead of schedule. The project is supposed to be given to you on 17 October. It is supposed to come out on 28 October. But I'm already preparing you about the project. Look at the date. The date today is something like 8 September. We are a month ahead before the start of that project. So you're gonna have ample time to solve it, about 3 to 4 weeks of doing it. And then now, to come on to your point number 2, you said lectures that were done today. If you go to Moodle right now, I'm looking at Moodle and I'm looking at EDSE 131. The stuff for matter and materials is there, for atoms and atomic structure is there. All that stuff which pertains the information about the quiz was already posted before the quiz opened. If you go there right now, you can find it. Every question which is about the quiz and the tutorial, which is due next week, is there. The only thing that's not there is what we started today, because this one is supposed to be for next week, but we are well ahead of schedule. It's for week 3. We've started electrical systems and electronics. So I will post it after I'm done here. Right. But number 3 is not a must for me. Video of the lecture. That I will do when I am free and comfortable. Because it promotes people not to attend lectures. And this is actually double labor for me. So I'll post it maybe on Friday, because I said Fridays I'm a free man. I don't do anything. So my only free days in a week is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's when I'm free. So on Friday, that's when I can post these videos. That's when I have the time to follow and say the lectures for ET 1313 on my recordings are these ones. For 121 EDT 121 are these ones. For electronic engineering is this and this and this. Right. So this you'll get before you sleep. This I've explained when. This, trust me, I'll put it in my own time. Double labor. All right. Otherwise, I hope everything is clear. Any other question? I can see 2 people wrote on charts there. Say the quizzes we have wrote so far. These are the questions that I told guys that I do not like. Here is another one saying, Nelani Jali, to ever say the quizzes we have wrote so far, will they contribute to our final mark? Now I'm gonna go back to that thing again. Let me look at it again. The course outline is there. It's clearly stated that all quizzes will be there. They contribute. This is the course outline for EDSE 131. We discussed it before. I gave people my name there. It's written in what I do there. I left there, I moved on, talked about the content, what we're gonna be doing. I put the information, it's highlighted here. It's highlighted on the course outline when what is gonna happen, when what is gonna happen. And you are well ahead of schedule, you are going okay. Right. And then this is where I say tutorial 3 is when and practical 1 is when. The only problem we're having is practical because of the lab tech. And then project is also listed there. when it's gonna be. See project 1 or assignment 1. Supposed to start on what? On 17 October and come out on 28 October. But you are well ahead of schedule. You see, way ahead of schedule. We're already doing this part here, electrical systems and electronics, right? Such that very soon we'll be doing electronics components. After that, there you are. You'll be doing your thing, having more time to do it because we're within schedule, right? And then I left it there after discussing that and said, here is another most important thing. Check the final examination, or what it is called these days. It's no longer called the examination, it's called the major test because we're using assessments. Instead of final examination is called the major test. It's on 10 October, 10 November, in fact. And then it's sub, which is a makeup on 24 November. Right. And then there is the period for those who have lost tutorials and makeup test. If you didn't answer a quiz or didn't answer a tutorial, your time of answering makeups will be between 31 October and 4 November. And I explained that this depends on the sick note or official letter you give me, your reason why, and the investigation by the people above me. I don't have the right to say you can do it or not. Those powers are not with me. Same as the powers of saying you can register what module or not. I do not possess those powers. There are people who are bigger than me, who you appeal to, and then they look at those things and then they say, yes, approve, no, approve. And then this is where I came to now what explain to everyone. I'm explaining the course outline for the second time today. This is will be the second lecture with the course outline being explained online. Where I came here, I said coursework will be 60%, that major test or exam will be 40%. And then it's written, the practical will be 10%, project or assignment will be 10%. The tutorials, which are 5 of them, will count 20% because they are continuous assessments. They have more marks. And then we're going to have 2 tests. Test 1 online, which is going to count 10%. And the one test, which we're going to write sitting down in a hall in there. If you stay in Matopo, Jombe, wherever, you're going to have to be on campus by law of the university on that day and write that sit down on campus test. And then there's going to be a 2-hour examination, which is going to count 40%. This one is a sit-on also on campus by law of the university now. And then I said there's what is called the GP, Julie performance. Somebody went on and asked me, I remember, and said, what does that mean, Minir? I said, this is the standard of a degree. When you're in a race or wherever, look at marathons or whatsoever that they do in Olympics or whatsoever. There is a rule. If they round you, go round around you maybe 3 or 4 times, automatically you are useless in those 10 rounds. You are now causing confusion. What are you doing? So it's like that. People must attend the tutorials, attend tests and write, and they must get at least 40% of this. This is what is called coursework, that round thing there. If you have 40% of those marks there, you will be allowed to write an exam. But if you do not have that 40%, you will go and have to appeal. And then I also explained, I said, in this class, we have an SRC representative. I had friends in SRC when I was still a student. They used to help me with this SRC. If you find the SRC comrade, which is part of us here, talk to him. He knows how to help you with these things. Right, because SRC is always there to help. They will guide you. If you want to appeal, go and apply so, or go and ask so. They know these things better. I explained that if you do not have a DP. Right. So now when someone is asking me that, do these tutorials count? Do you think I will spend a day here telling you to go and answer a tutorial which we're going to throw away? It really seriously makes me wonder. You think we're coming here to teach and you sitting there listening just to joke? And then I went on there and I was showing you This is the information that I was saying. It kind of makes me wonder why people want to disturb us in class. We have to be learning about other things so that we are well ahead of what we're doing. Because being ahead is going to help you. There will come a time when you're going to need a makeup test, when the whole class is going to send the class representative, but we know the rules. But can you help us with these reasons and make us write another test? Then I take those reasons, compile them, because now I have reason is coming from many people. I can go to the people above me and say, but the class didn't do well. Let's allow it. We will put a reason when those people who moderate the degree and say, this was what was happening. So I put all this information. I said, first half of the semester, online lectures, but practicals will be on campus. I put it clear, it's there on the course outline. I went on to put second half campus will be on the lectures will be on campus lectures. Practicals, there's no change. They will always be on campus. I went on again to say, guys, our lecture times are these ones. Wednesdays are meant for practicals. That's why yesterday I didn't want to utilize that practical time because it's meant for pracs, not for me to teach. If I come and teach you for more than 2 hours up to 4:20, I'm violating some rules there. So I explained this, and then I went on to say the links are there on Moodle, which we now call Learn 2022. The links are clearly labeled. I'm looking at Learn 22 right now. It's written every Monday lecture, every Tuesday lecture, every Wednesday lecture, every Thursday lecture. But some people are lazy to open Moodle and look that it says Monday. I click on Monday. I look on Tuesday. I click on Tuesday. They just don't want to do that. They want me to send the link to them every day. That, unfortunately, is double labor for me. I will not do. And then I went on again. I put communication channels. I said, Learn 2022 as a way of you sending an email or a message on it. University email, your student number, your student email, communicate with me with it. MS Teams, Microsoft Teams, you log in with your university email. I'm also there, part of it with my university email. You can send me a message or put ask for consultation, book me on MS Teams, and then it will send me a calendar and booking. It will also show you when I'm busy and when I'm not busy on Teams. Zoom, that is one is even better. We use it for class. You even send charts and text along with it. I answer every time we're going in class. I said all these are communication channels which are valid. And then I said student consultations, queries. Students are to consult and query with the lecturer via university or student email. There's nothing which mentions my number. My number only comes maybe when you are writing a sub tomorrow and I'm busy, I finished varsity, you need me to give consent to a makeup or to a supplementary exam, my signature. That's when you're gonna call, because that one I know is life or death. But these are the things which are weird, which are going, I don't know. That's not life and death via university. Then I went on, I put laboratory pracs. There will be 5 pracs, of which they are going to be happening in groups. But we are doing one practical. It's divided into 5 practical because there's 210 students. There is no way we can fit 210 students in one venue and do one prac. Hence 210 divided by 5. Those are the 5 pracs. And you are expected to get 50% and above there. And then I went on again to make sure that, to actually quite show you that I was trying to be friendly and nice. I put the important dates alone. Those dates which are for assessment, I repeated them. And said, look at these dates. Test 1 is going to be written when, and then deadline for making queries will come when. Test 2, makeup test 1. I even put on the ones for tutorials also, right? Separately, so that people can see when is going to be when. So that people, whenever they are lost, they don't know when, you can consult the course outline. This is the most important thing. You start with it. You always consult it. And then I went on to talk about how SIG tests are going to be. That to be allowed to write a SIG test, each duly deserving student must submit original copy of proof of valid evidence, no later than 10 of 30 of 12. And then I explained to you that a SIG test cannot be used to replace where you got 5%. If you wrote test 1 and got 5%, and then you think you're going to be allowed to write a SIG test so that you can get 50. No, that one only comes from the class rep. If the class rep wants a test for everyone, a retest for everyone, he's going to have to sit down with you. You're going to have to tell him valid reasons, and he's going to have to write an email to me, which I will take that email and send it to my boss, the Dean of Learning and Teaching, and saying my class tested badly because of these reasons and moderation that I've seen. I am duly asking that I retest the class. Then if I'm allowed to do that, I will give a retest. That does not belong to me, that I can say yes or no. I have a boss also who I report to daily. And then there comes what is saying examination, which is, I keep mentioning it, is called the major test nowadays. To be 2 hours, I'm gonna sit down there. And then because I want people to pass, I say the formula sheet will be provided. I'll give you a formula sheet so that it's easier for you to actually access it. All right. And then from there, I went on to talk about what everyone talks about, copying, attendance that you should attend in order for you to understand these things. Noise making, which I've been busy telling some people, be careful. And then late submission of assessments. So guys, this is the last time I am discussing a course outline again. So I hope now everything is clear. With that, I'm saying have a good day and let's enjoy, guys. I'm due for my prac now. I have about 1 minute to go to my other prac. So have a wonderful day and enjoy. I have to go and see engineering students. They have a prac now. Have a good day and a wonderful time with the quiz. Bye.